Good afternoon, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. This is Rich again, back for your second video blog of the day for Monday, August 10th, 2015, around 3:32 in the afternoon in Billerica, Massachusetts. Nice and sunny out, low humidity for the final day. Then it's going to get a little humid tomorrow with lots of rain showers and downpours. Some news report: Happy National Sports Day in the United States of America. The New York Rangers signed forward Jared Stahl to a one-year contract. Jared Stahl is dating Fox Sports reporter Erin Andrews. And the Baltimore Ravens have announced that wide receiver Steve Smith is going to be retiring after the 2015 season. And today, NBC Sports and the Premier Soccer League, the English Premier Soccer League, has announced that they are going to continue the rights to carry the U.S. broadcasting rights of the Premier League on NBC Sports and the NBC Sports Group into the 2020-21 season. And that's good news because NBC's doing a good job with the Premier Soccer League. That's about it on the news. My next subject is the weekly feature of fantasy booking. I'm going to be fantasy booking each week, wrestling angles and stuff. Or we book pay-per-view cards, or we book people who should have been champion in WCW, WWE, or ECW and stuff. Last week, I did one with a Rouge 4 Horsemen versus Layla 4 Horsemen angle for WCW in 1996. That was pretty good. Now, I'm rebooking WrestleMania 8, WWE WrestleMania 8 from the Hoosier Dome in Indianapolis, Indiana in April 1992. And the main event for the fantasy booking WrestleMania 8, this is going to be rebooked. It would be Hulk Hogan facing off against Nature Boy Ric Flair for the WWE Championship. Ric Flair's the reigning WWE Championship. That was originally going to be the main event for WrestleMania 8, but it went to a co-main event. Ric Flair faced off against Randy Savage, and Hulk Hogan faced off against Sid Justice. And most of the card that I did, I rebooked it except for one match. We'll talk about that later. And anyway, here would be the fantasy booking WrestleMania 8, the way I would rebook it. And many of these matches were maybe proposed on the original WrestleMania 8 card and stuff, but they got changed around. I think they booked WrestleMania a year in advance and stuff like that, but all of them were subject to changes. And most of these matches, some of these were feuds going in a few months before WrestleMania at house shows across the WWE circuit. The first match for the fantasy booking WrestleMania 8 would have been El Matador Tito Santana facing off against the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase with Sensational Sherry. El Matador and Ted DiBiase had like kind of a feud at house show circuits all across the North America, and some of them were going like 45 minutes and stuff, time limit draws and stuff. Tito Santana, this was probably he was on his way out of the WWE around this point, and the El Matador gimmick wasn't the best, and Ted DiBiase was kind of hanging on as a heel. He would become, part of Money Incorporated with IRS and stuff. And WrestleMania 8, the real WrestleMania 8, the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase and IRS faced off against the Natural Disasters, and El Matador faced off against Shawn Michaels. But in this fantasy booking WrestleMania, they're facing off against each other. This is probably a 5-10 minute match, and I'm doing an upset. El Matador beats Ted DiBiase with the flying forearm or the El Paso de Muerte and stuff like that. El Matador Tito Santana finally gets a win at a WrestleMania. This is just a dream scenario, fantasy booking scenario and stuff, because El Matador only won one WrestleMania match that was televised. He won another against Papa Shango and stuff in WrestleMania 9, but that was a dark match. The next match would have been Shawn Michaels, the Heartbreak Kid, facing off against Superfly Jimmy Snuka. Shawn Michaels faced off against El Matador at WrestleMania 8, but this is fantasy booking WrestleMania. Shawn Michaels is like just turned heel, throwing Marty Jannetty through the playing grass window. Marty Jannetty's out of the WWE for a while. In this fantasy booking WrestleMania, I won't have Shawn Michaels with Sensational Sherry yet. Jimmy Snuka was basically out of the WWE at this point, but he's sticking around just for one more big WrestleMania payday, and will be a total squash match. Shawn Michaels beats Jimmy Snuka, Superfly Snuka, in about like 3-4 minutes with the super kick or sweet chin music, what they called it later on. Jimmy Superfly Snuka, for the last few years in the WWE, he was basically a jobber to the stars. The next match would be Repo Man facing off against Virgil, and they were setting up this feud because Repo Man interfered in a match between Virgil and the $1 Million Man for the $1 Million belt, and they had some house show matches and stuff. Actually, Repo Man and Virgil were on the WrestleMania 8 card in the 8-man tag team match, and in this fantasy booking WrestleMania, they'll be facing off against each other one-on-one, and I would say this match will go double counter because both Repo Man and Virgil will go outside the ring beating up on each other. Probably last about 5 minutes and stuff like that. And that's it on that match. The next match would be for the Intercontinental Championship. It would be Bret the Hitman Hart facing off against Rowdy Piper, the current Intercontinental Champion. This match took place on the WrestleMania 8 card. It's the only match that I'm keeping for the fantasy booking WrestleMania 8. And this match will go basically the same as the one at the real WrestleMania 8 when Piper is like, having some heel moments and stuff, but Bret the Hitman Hart beats him, but I'll have him beat him with the sharpshooter and stuff, and afterwards Piper and Hart would shake hands and stuff like that. The next match would be Big Boss Man facing off against IRS, also known as Erwin Shyster. And this feud was kind of boiling before like WrestleMania and stuff, but they moved IRS to tag teams with the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. They became Money Incorporated, but in this fantasy booking WrestleMania 8, Money Incorporated does not exist. And around this time, they were making promotions about I'm coming for you, boss man, and stuff. And it turned out to be nails and stuff like that. And for this match, I would have like Big Boss Man beat up IRS, but the referee would get knocked out, and then coming down is Nails. Nails like beats up on the Big Boss Man and beats him up to a pulp, and then they have IRS come down. No, IRS come over and pin the Boss Man for the 1, 2, 3 when the referee wakes up, and IRS wins, and then Big Boss Man and Nails start their long-running feud. The next match would be an 8-man tag team match. It would be the Nasty Boys, Knops and Sags, facing off against teaming with the Beverly Brothers. The Nasty Boys would be with their manager, the Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart. The Beverly Brothers would be with their manager, the genius Lanny Poppel, facing off against Sergeant Slaughter and Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Ho! And the Bushwhackers looking bush. Yeah. These teams actually faced off against each other at WrestleMania 8. The Beverly Brothers faced off against the Bushwhackers in a dark match, and the Nasty Boys and Sergeant Slaughter and Hacksaw Jim Duggan were part of that 8-man tag team match. And for this fantasy booking WrestleMania match, we'll go about a couple minutes, maybe 2-3 minutes, but they have all 8 members of the team fighting inside the ring, and the referee just throws the match out. A double disqualification, stuff like that. And just to get on to the next match. The next match would be Sid Justice facing off against The Undertaker with Paul Bearer. And I will still have Sid Justice as a face and The Undertaker still as a heel. It would be a back and forth match and stuff. And then The Undertaker would beat Sid Justice with interference by Paul Bearer. He would like hit Sid Justice with an urn when the referee was turned back with the Undertaker, and then the Undertaker would give the tombstone to Sid Justice for the 1, 2, 3, knocking Sid out. When Sid wakes up and stuff, he goes psycho. He attacks referee officials and stuff, and this will probably turn Psycho Sid Justice to a heel and stuff like that. And the Undertaker was getting face pops around this time, so eventually he would have turned face, in my opinion, if this fantasy booking WrestleMania 8 continued on and stuff. Undertaker was a face. He faced off against Jake the Snake Roberts at WrestleMania 8. The next match would be the Native American Tatanka. He would have been facing off against Skinner. These two wrestled at WrestleMania 8, the real WrestleMania 8. Tatanka faced off against the model Rick Martel, and Skinner wrestled Owen Hart, but the Tatanka would beat Skinner in about maybe 2 minutes and stuff with the Pampoosh to go, like the kind of the Samoan drop and stuff. Would be the first win by the Native American Tatanka on the pay-per-view. The next match would have been the British Bulldog, Davey Boy Smith, facing off against the Mountie. I'm the Mountie. I'm handsome, I'm brave, I'm strong. I'm the Mountie, 'cause I enforce the law. You could try to run, but you could never hide, because I'm the Mountie. I always get my man. He would be with his manager, the mouth of his house, Jimmy Hart and stuff. And at the real WrestleMania 8, the Mountie was in that part of the 8-man tag team match, and the British Bulldog was slated to face off against the Berserker, but due to time restrictions, that match was cancelled. But there'll be no cancellation of this match. It would be like a back-and-forth match, about 7-8 minutes. Jimmy Hart will try to interfere, but he would get knocked down. The Mountie will try to use the cattle prod, but he would, miss on the British Bulldog, and the Mountie would accidentally shock himself and stuff, and the British Bulldog would grab the Mountie and give him the running power slam for the 1, 2, 3. The next match would be a Chicago street fight for the WWE World Tag Team Championships. It would be the LOD Hawk and Animal facing off against the Natural Disasters, Earthquake, and Typhoon, with the mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart. In the real WrestleMania 8, the Natural Disasters were faces facing off against Money Incorporated, who were managed by Jimmy Hart. But in this fantasy booking WrestleMania, Money Incorporated's not a team. And I'll have, during a house show, maybe in February, a non-televised house show, that the Natural Disasters beat LOD for the WWE Tag Team Championship, and then they would have a Chicago street fight, but the LOD would have a surprise, and that surprise would be their former manager, Presage Paul Ellering. He would come back, and the Chicago street fight will go about 7, 8, 9 minutes, and the LOD would win because Presage Paul Ellering would interfere and knock out Earthquake with the megaphone and stuff with Jimmy Hart and stuff, and the LOD would regain the WWE Tag Team Championship, and afterwards Earthquake would blame Jimmy Hart. He would think it was Jimmy Hart, and he would try to attack Jimmy Hart, but then Typhoon would come in and beat up on Earthquake, and that would set up a feud between Earthquake and Typhoon, and Earthquake would be a face and stuff. But that's another story for another day. The next match would be a steel cage match to blow off this feud. It would be the Macho Man, Randy Savage, ooh yeah, facing off against Jake the Snake Roberts. Trust me. They had a long-running feud for the WWE that last started at SummerSlam 1991, and then they had King Cobra bite Macho Man Randy Savage's arm and stuff, was demonized, and then they had Jake the Snake slap Miss Elizabeth around. This feud blew off at a Saturday night's main event in February 1992, but the ultimate blow-off should have been a WrestleMania 8 steel cage match, and this would have been a great match and stuff. Macho Man would have beat up Jake the Snake pretty easily and stuff. He would have gone out the door, and he would have won this cage match and stuff. I think this was originally going to be on the WrestleMania 8 card with Jake the Snake against Randy Savage in a steel cage match, but that got changed, the plans. And the last match would have been Hulk Hogan with nobody. He didn't have a manager, facing off against Nature Boy Ric Flair with his executive consultant, Mr. Perfect. And Ric Flair was the WWE champion, and this match would go about 15-20 minutes and stuff. And it would be Hulk hulking up and stuff. Ric Flair putting Hogan in a figure 4 for a few minutes, but Hogan would get out after several 2 counts. Hogan would go for the big boot and stuff, but then Mr. Perfect would hit Hogan with a chair, causing the automatic disqualification. Hulk Hogan wins, but Ric Flair is still the WWE champion. And then Mr. Perfect and Ric Flair would beat the hell out of Hulk Hogan, but then out of nowhere, music would play, and the music was do 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 do. The Ultimate Warrior would come back to the WWE after being gone for several months and stuff like that. Ultimate Warrior would clean house and stuff with Mr. Perfect and Nature Boy Ric Flair, and then him and Hogan would embrace and shake hands and stuff. Hogan was leaving the WWE for a while for filming Mr. Nanny and stuff, so that this continues on the stuff in real life, and they could have Ric Flair continue with the WWE Championship, facing off against the Ultimate Warrior at house shows in 1992 and stuff like that, because I think that might have been the original plan all along, for the Warrior to come back and stuff and feud with Ric Flair over the WWE Championship and stuff. And this is, this would be a perfect fantasy booking WrestleMania 8 card and stuff. Maybe this could have really worked if the WWE had many of these matches booked in advance, but they changed their minds on some of the matches and stuff, and nothing's etched in stone. But this would be this would be the fantasy booking WrestleMania 8 I would have. Next week on these fantasy booking video blogs, I'm going to go back to 1989, and from April 1989 through April 1990, I'm going to book Hulk Hogan as the WWE champion, but I'm going to book him as a heel. And remember when the Mega Powers exploded? I'm going to have Hogan as a heel and Randy Savage as a face, and I'm going to book Hogan as a heel for the WWE Championship from April 1989 through April of 1990, WrestleMania 6, when he drops it to the Ultimate Warrior and stuff like that. This fantasy booking is going to be very shocking and stuff. Some surprise names, surprise feuds that Hogan will be in, and some of them will be faces in the WWE and stuff. I'm not going to tell you too much because it's next week, like Mean Gene Okerlund would say, stuff we can't talk about on the air or speculate. But if you call my hotline at 1-900-909-9900, I'll tell you the latest scoop. It's just $1.49 a minute. Kids, get your parents' permission. That's about it on that. Keep calm. I'm Julie Blood and Guy, Molly Rosenblatt of Fox 35 Rocks. And in the words of Sean Lucha, get out. Bye now.